everyone, welcome. Today I'm going live to talk about clarinet and saxophone intonation. So if you're watching, say hi in the comments. Let me know what instrument you play. So this is live in the Facebook group Woodwind Support Community. So I'm going to start with clarinet, and then I'm going to do a separate video on saxophone. So the main questions I had this week were what is intonation and how to adjust your intonation to play in tune with yourself and others, and also how to practice it. So intonation, this is one of the questions we got. Intonation is being in tune. So it's kind of being able to maintain a steady pitch and being able to play in tune and match pitch with others, either all playing the same note or in different intervals. So being able to play in tune with yourself, being able to know your tuning tendencies on your instrument, and also being able to play with those around you to sound good. Usually when something is in tune, it's more pleasing for us to listen to. So for clarinet, for intonation, so a really good tool to have is a tuner. So there's a lot of different types of tuners. You can just have like a normal tuner that you get from the music store, or you can download it as an app. So I just have a mobile app on my phone. It's called Piano Tuner. It's free, and this is what I use to tune, because then I can just have everything on my phone. I have my metronome here too. So when we're tuning, typically American orchestras are going to tune to 440. So basically, you can just make sure that your tuner is set to that. And my tuner's automatically set to be tuned at 440. So how we can tell if we're in tune, so we're just going to pick a note to play and see if it lines up correctly on the tuner. So common notes to play are on clarinet, playing a concert B flat, so that would be our C. And then sometimes also we can tune to a concert A, so that would be our B. So the tuner is going to be reading in concert, so if it's saying B flat and you're playing a C, that's good. I know that has been a little bit confusing for some of my students in the past, not being able to like match the note on their instrument on saxophone or clarinet with the tuner. But just keep in mind the tuner is going to be in concert. So I'm going to play a note. I'm going to play a C on my clarinet, and we're going to see if it's in tune. Okay, so when I was doing it on the tuner, I know this might be a little bit hard to see. I can take a screenshot. It was going towards the left, which means that I was flat. If it's going towards the right, it means sharp, and if it's green, that means you're in tune. And that's affected by the weather. So right now, I just turned up the heat in my house, so my clarinet is pretty cold, and I haven't really warmed up, so I'm going to be on the flat side. So that's why it's really important to warm up before you have a rehearsal, and also why it's important to adjust your intonation over time. So if you've been playing for like 15-20 minutes in band class, it's important to kind of see where you are with your intonation. So once I'm warmed up and I want to adjust my intonation, let's talk about how I would go about adjusting it on the clarinet. So there's a couple places we can adjust our intonation. The most common place to adjust our intonation is here at the barrel, right? So I was flat, so I wouldn't want to do anything currently to adjust my intonation because I'm still warming up. But let's say I've been playing now for 15 minutes and I'm starting to get sharp. So what I'll want to do is pull out at the barrel here to make the clarinet a little bit longer, and that'll cause the clarinet to be a little bit flatter. So you can just pull out here, and then also if you're flat, like I was, and you want to be more sharp to be more in tune, you would push in. And if this is being a little bit stubborn to adjust, you can use cork grease, which basically looks like chapstick. It's pretty inexpensive. And then you can just put that on the cork of the instrument here. What you do not want to do is you don't want to adjust the mouthpiece for intonation. So you don't want to take the mouthpiece out of the barrel because then that's just going to affect kind of your sound It just causes things not to be aligned properly. So the other place that is kind of common to adjust your intonation on clarinet, you can also adjust your intonation here between the two middle joints, just slightly. So it kind of depends on your clarinet. Some clarinets are really finicky about being adjusted here. So if you do that, you want to make sure it's just very slight and make sure that these keys here are lined back up correctly. So typically when I'm tuning, I'm mostly just adjusting at the barrel, and also you can like change barrels on your clarinet too. So if you're noticing that you're always flat or always sharp, you can try a different kind of barrel rather than getting a whole different clarinet. So a shorter barrel will make your intonation sharper, and a longer barrel will make it flatter. Okay, so that's how I tune on the clarinet. That's how to adjust, and that's how to kind of play with a tuner. Now this could be a separate video too. There's a lot of different ways to tune intervals. If you're playing with others, like maybe in a chamber group and band, if you're playing like a major third or a minor third or a perfect interval, some notes are going to be either sharp or flat, depending kind of on the rules of interval intonation. We're going to really get into that a lot during Woodwind Academy also, so that you can feel more confident when you're playing with others. But the big thing is just to make sure that you're in tune with yourself first. And when I was practicing intonation and getting really used to my clarinet, I just had a notepad where I'd write the intonation of each note on my clarinet, because some notes are going to tend to be sharper or flatter than others. So like I'd be like, okay, like my low note would tend to be sharp or flat, and I'd write how many cents, so plus or minus sharp or flat it was. So let me know if anyone has any questions about that. But I think the big thing is just, especially if you're just starting intonation, just getting with a tuner and just seeing if you can turn that tuner green, so be really right in tune with the notes that you already know how to play. And you can also check it with, I played some piano growing up as well, so if your piano's in tune, if you have a keyboard, you can check your note with the concert pitch on a keyboard. Okay, so let's talk about, you've played with your tuner, and now you kind of want another strategy for practicing intonation. So something I do a lot of, I've talked about before in my video, is practicing with drones. Because sometimes we have the tuner, which is really good to visualize, but we can't really like orally hear what's going on with our intonation all the time, especially for different like intervals, like octaves and stuff like that. So something I really like to do is practice with drones. So I just am on YouTube here, and a drone is just like a pitch that's held for a really long time. So I just went to YouTube, and the drone that I use is called Cello Drone, just because I feel like it's the least annoying sounding drone. I have like the Richard Schwartz tuning CD that has different drones as well. But anyway, so basically what I'm going to be playing is it's like a cello playing a B flat, like for a very long time. So it might be kind of loud. So be ready to adjust your volume. And I'm going to show you how I practice something with the drone. So I'm going to play my C major scale with the drone, and I'm going to see how each note sounds with it, and then I'm also going to check the octaves. Okay, well that's not super loud. So this is our B flat drone. Hopefully you can hear that a little bit. The audio might cut out a little bit when I start playing clarinet. So that G on clarinet, sometimes I like to add some fingers, because that can be a note that really varies in pitch. So I'm making it a little bit flatter by adding some fingers. And we can already see, now that I've been playing clarinet, it's been sitting out, I've warmed up for a few minutes, now I'm more in tune. My intonation has become a little bit sharper of the warm air and the instrument warming up. So something that I'll do with some of my students is I'll check the octaves with the drone. So I'm going to play my C octaves and see if I can make each one sound really in tune with each other. my students do that, they'll realize that sometimes one note, like maybe the high C, if that's not a comfortable note for you, could sound like maybe really flat, like, which could also be a low tongue position too, if you're not thinking so basically if your tongue is too like low, that can be causing that flatness as well. So hopefully that gives you a couple ideas on how to tune. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Yeah, so that's how I practice intonation. That's something I'm always working on, and that you can always incorporate some different ways to do that in your warm-ups too creatively. So now I'm going to switch to saxophone and talk about the intonation for that in a separate video, because adjusting the intonation on saxophone is a little bit different than clarinet in terms of some of the adjustments we'll make with our instrument. So thanks for watching.